Oh, Grace is here with Grace's News.
I am here, Howie. I want to talk a little bit because we're talking a lot about Charlie Baker and the masks and all of that good stuff. But did you see the story about the pregnancy that the CDC had put out something about women who are pregnant, that they're recommended to get the vaccine, and now they have reversed. And you know who
wait a second, the CDC has reversed its mandates. Next thing you know, you're going to be telling me that they said you didn't have to wear one mask, but then they said you had to wear one mask. Then they said you had to wear two masks. Now they're saying you don't have to wear a mask outside. Next, Grace, if this becomes a trend, pretty soon they're going to say that, you have to social distance at 6 feet, and then they're going to change their minds overnight and say it's 3 feet.
Oh, they actually said the 6 feet doesn't do anything. That came out today. By the way, and Howie, I'm sure you
thought it came out a couple
earlier.
of weeks ago, actually.
Well, where does Dr. Scott Atlas go to get his reputation back? They tried to make this guy out to be a complete nut, and it turns out everything he said, from masks to lockdowns to everything, was absolutely true.
I know. I don't you think that he knew all along that he was right, and everybody who was paying attention knew, or wasn't a partisan Democrat hack, knew that he was right.
Oh, yeah. And just by the examples he gave, you knew he was right. He was like, why are people biking with a mask on? Why are they walking around outside with masks on? This was months ago when the cult was running really strong. But the Center for Disease Control and Prevention walked back a statement its director made, its director being Dr. Rochelle Walensky.
She's from Chestnut Hill,
Yes.
In
I'm
the
sure
Boston suburbs.
Does that fall more mask crazy than Duxbury or less? I'm gonna say more.
I don't know. It's a pick'em in Vegas.
Yes, exactly. About the agency's recommendations surrounding the COVID-19 vaccine during pregnancy. Speaking at a White House COVID-19 briefing on Friday, Rochelle said that the CDC recommends that pregnant people receive the COVID-19 vaccine. And then yesterday on Monday, they said that, hold on, let me get to the.
How many times has she flip-flopped? There's been other ones too. I mean, I concern myself more with Dr. Fauci, his evolutions, but she's had a few herself, hasn't she?
Oh yeah, she's had a ton. She was the one who predicted impending doom.
That's right, impending doom. I forgot that. Yes.
You made the comparison about, switching from wearing masks to not wearing masks. But I mean, we all kind of know that those things, it's not really going to make a difference. But if I'm a pregnant woman and I get the vaccine because they tell me to, and then 4 days later she comes out and says, never mind, and I already got the jab, I would be furious.
Hey, she's woke, Grace. You can't go up against Rochelle woke Walensky.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, moving on to 2024, there's been a lot of rumors about people who are going to run. Ron DeSantis, former President Donald Trump, to name a few. But I have one that I'm not sure. I don't know how people are going to feel about this. Yes. Lincoln Project Liz, as Trump Jr. has called her, Liz Cheney, is not ruling out running for president.
You mean after she loses the Republican primary for the one House seat in Wyoming next year?
Yeah.
That's always a good jumping off point for a presidential campaign, losing a primary in your own party.
Well, it's like with Beto when he lost the Senate.
Especially when you're an incumbent.
Yeah, and then your next move is, I'm going to be president. But Howie, actually, speaking of, I know your poll question's tough, but I sent out a poll today on my Twitter for people, and I was flabbergasted at the responses. People were getting very upset with me. I said, you have to vote for one of these choices in 2024, okay? So you have to. Who do you choose? Paul Ryan, Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie. And everybody was just responding back saying, why would you do this?
No, I know. Grace, I wouldn't. If I'd seen that, I wouldn't have responded. I wouldn't have voted in that poll.
61% said Nikki Haley.
That's your male audience,
Yeah.
I mean, that's that's why they were voting for her. That's the only reason. But she's just as treacherous as the rest of them.
I agree. I totally agree. Grace's News is brought to you by Toyota of Portsmouth, the house of value. I love my RAV4 XLE. I actually took it to the car wash this weekend in Duxbury, got it all shined up and beautiful. And it's a great car. And the process of getting it was fabulous. I love everyone at Toyota of Portsmouth. They have a welcoming staff and a huge, sparkling, clean showroom. They're located just south of the Portsmouth traffic circle off 95. It's always nice to get out of Massachusetts, and it's a great place to go. So go to toyotaofportsmouth.com or visit them at the showroom and tell them I sent you. Now, I wanted to read you this, Howie, because the mailroom manager had sent me a post earlier today, and it turns out that this stuff is going really viral. Restaurants are putting up signs on their doors where they say, basically, they're trying to get the message that the people we have working here are working very long shifts because no one wants to work, and we can't get anyone to come into the restaurants. So I'm going to read you one here that one of our listeners, Mark, sent me. Said every single restaurant owner I know is pulling their hair out trying to find help. No one has ever seen it like this before. Kitchen crews, bar, bussing, servers, food runners. There is an overabundance of job openings right now, and those qualified to fill them are either sitting out collecting unemployment or they've left the biz altogether. Either way, as if restaurant owners haven't been through enough, now their restaurants are busy, but they can't find help. Bottom line, please be kind if you're going out this weekend. The people you encounter may be on their 14th day of a 12-hour shift. And a lot of people are saying, listen, we can't get anyone to come in and work.
We talked about that. There was a big story in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. We talked about it yesterday on my show, and people were calling in saying the exact same thing. And they one guy said that he doesn't have a restaurant. He has I think a roofing business, and he said he runs around doing the jobs, and then he comes back and because he was 0 for 6 the other day. 6 people made appointments to see him just because they needed something to put on their unemployment form so they could keep getting the big money, and then they just blew him off. They set up the interviews, and then they don't show. I mean, that's got to be that's got to be more frustrating than just not being able to find anybody.
I know it's crazy. And then I was listening today to I wasn't obviously watching MSNBC, but I stumbled across a clip. And there was some guy on one of their panels with Nicole Wallace, and he was trying to make the argument for vaccine passports because, they haven't controlled us enough over the last couple months. Now they want us all to carry around these passports. And the guy was like, a lot of these small businesses, they really need people to be able to just come in and relax. And I was thinking to myself, now these limousine liberals are going to try to get vaccine passports through by pretending to care about the restaurants and the small businesses that they have ruined over the last year.
Well, what about the vaccine pass? Do you need a vaccine passport to vote?
Jim Crow 2.0.
The thought just occurred to me.
Howie, you are Jim Eagle. I cannot believe you would even say that.
So you need a vaccine passport, according to these people, to go have dinner at your local restaurant, but you don't need a vaccine you don't need a vaccine passport or a driver's license or any damn thing, not even a utility bill to vote as many times as you want, as long as you're voting Democrat, I guess.
Yeah, get with it, brah. This is the new age. By the way, the New York Post has a story out. Kamala Harris talks migration crisis with Finland's president. The problem is more than 6,000 miles.
Is it reindeer that are migrating in Finland?
Well, they keep saying she wants to address the root causes of this issue. And I just keep thinking, he's right behind you. He's stumbling around the White House. Look no further. The problem is more than 6,000 miles and a great ocean away from him. But Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday asked Finland's president to help stem the flow of migrants from Central America to the U.S.-Mexico border. He must be like, I'll pass. Thanks. We're good.
God.
It's absolute insanity. And she's not going to the border anytime soon. I think we're on day 35 where she hasn't visited the border. And but she hosted a virtual meeting with the Guatemala president. So that's good.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, none of this had to happen.
No,
this was totally preventable. It was fixed. The border was fixed, and they went in there and they broke it. just like energy independence, just like keeping Iran's nuclear ambitions bottled up.
Well, yeah, I was talking to a woman yesterday, Howie, and she said, all of these federal employees like Fauci and just everyone, and whether it's, federal employees or celebrities or whoever, she said, if they all went away tomorrow, we would all be fine. And then she thought about it again and she said, actually, we'd all be better off. Like things would probably run a lot more smoothly if we didn't have these people actively trying to destroy the country.
Right. And the thing about people like Fauci is, even if he had benign intentions, which I don't think he does, if he's wrong, there's no consequences.
Right.
If you're a federal employee, you basically cannot be fired if you're a federal employee, even at the higher levels. As long as you have the civil service protection, you're in the G class or whatever it is, G15 or whatever. And so there's no way they don't have to be right. They just have to be politically correct. That's all they care about.
My Nana used to say, all you have to do to not get fired from a job in the federal government is not kill someone on your shift.
Right.
Right in front of everyone.
My favorite quote is from Thomas Jefferson. He said it, more than 200 years ago now. He said, vacancies by death are few. By resignation, never. That sums it up. Whoever quit a federal job?
No, and you're absolutely right. And there's anything he says. And I keep telling people, I'm like, this is why they hate Ron DeSantis so much and they hate Texas and Florida, is because they kind of offer up this alternate universe of like how things could have gone if we had just used common sense. And I think it really bothers Dr. Fauci that all of these hypothetical crazy things he says, we have a direct way of, putting them against something. And we go, well, that's not happening. So why isn't what you're saying happening? And from what I've been seeing on his interviews, he's getting a little bit irritable. I think he knows that it's ending. Yeah,
well, we just played the Charlie Parker cuts from Boston, and
I heard that,
and he seems like he's despondent that this is all ending, and he has to go through this charade that we actually have to keep most of the states still shut down for another number of weeks or months until August to just sort of so he can save face and not admit that this was a catastrophe, a calamity that was totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and when you were playing the Charlie Parker sounds and you asked Taylor, like, does he sound kind of sad? Does he sound a little bummed out? And then you played them, I was thinking to myself, he sounded, when he sounded a lot happier and you could almost do a side-by-side is when he was talking about the Butterballs.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought the same thing.
He was gleeful. It was like, and we sent people out to weigh the turkeys.
Yeah.
He was so happy.
For those of you who are new listeners, at Thanksgiving, he was bragging about sending people out to the supermarkets to make sure that nobody bought big turkeys, i.e. so they weren't having large gatherings at Thanksgiving. That was how he was getting his jollies.
He would love if Biden actually started telling people, how Biden's recommendation is like one hamburger a month for each person to cut back on red meat. Baker would love that. He'd be buying like measuring tools, knocking on your door. It's time for us to weigh your hamburger. He's
looking for the next big virus, Charlie Parker. So are they all. Thank you, Grace.
Thanks, Howie.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm always looking at a screen now more than ever. And whether you're an avid news watcher, which I'm not anymore, or in serious need of a distraction, unplugging yourself is easier said than done. One of my favorite ways to rest my eyes and still get the content I'm itching for by putting in my Raycon wireless earbuds and listening to something great. I like classic rock. Taylor likes to listen to the old style big band music.
Some 50s and 60s, doo-wop, rockabilly. It's all good stuff, and it sounds terrific on the Raycons.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And the thing is, you don't bother anybody else. Like, I'm sure that there are not too many rockabilly fans in the studio up in Boston, where I'll be soon. But Taylor can listen to his own music and not bother anybody, and you can listen to whatever you like and not bother anybody. And with Raycons, you get them for half the price of the other premium brands, and you don't have to worry about those lame wires dangling out of your ears. Raycons are built to perform anywhere and any time with water and sweat-resistant construction and Bluetooth that pairs quickly and seamlessly. And with enough battery life for 6 hours of playtime, you can unplug for a while. Raycons come in a range of stylish colorways with a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look. The best part, Raycon makes great sound accessible to everyone with wireless earbuds starting at half the price of other premium audio brands. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for my listeners, and here's what you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.